Hey, fat fish heads! It's time for another edition of the hottest new podcast on all platforms, Fat Fish. Sit back and strap yourself in for the wildest ride on the open seas. Now, flap your fins for the fabulous Fat Fish brothers, Eric Fish Snyder and Brad Grunny Grunberg, a.k.a. Snacks.
How are you, buddy?
Oh man, it's weird. Sometimes the way this thing is contoured is how I'm like skinny with the black next to me, like an old black and white TV set that's kind of on the Brits in the 70s, 60s. And look how big and beautiful you are, man.
You know what I don't understand? We're in show number 87 and you're still fucking around. What's going on?
Insane? Isn't that insane? It's just nuts. 87. I mean, I don't know what's going on here, but you know what? We have sound, we have music, and we have each other. And before we bring on this wonderful guest, because I'm a big fan of the franchise, we started out last week's show talking about manscaping. I don't know if I've ever got more emails in my life about the tool that I used. And then when you said, why don't you take that tool you use for your nose and your ears and shove it up your butt? There's people that want me to do that on air. I don't think that
God.
Regulations. Well, they don't want you doing it on air. We don't have the space.
God forbid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
God, that's funny.
If you need, if any manscaping, ventures, and you have any kind of, if you're a company that wants us to advertise for you, like we do Cloudwater and stuff like that, we're good. We'll do anything we want on this there. We're looking to get monetized. So that being said, Brad.
Oh, wait. How about KY jelly? Can we do that?
That's not a manscaping tool. That is something you use for fornication or anal penetration, which, come on. The only anal penetration you ever use is an enema after eating your 6,000 Chick-fil-A's. Anyways, we have a great guest today. Do you want to put the poster up first or bring him in?
Yeah, let's put the poster up.
All right, and you introduce this guy.
Okay.
All right.
So
all right, talk about this.
There it is. Meatballs 4, everybody. There I am in the bottom left with the beautiful Christy Tom. Yes, this is the best time of my life. My first away game to Bass Lake, California. And our guest, he wrote it, he directed it. Ladies and gentlemen, take a good look. Corey Feldman is the star. The one and only Bobby Logan, everybody.
Hey, Bobby!
Suddenly I pop up. Wow.
Yeah.
When we put that up here. Yeah. Bobby, thank you so much for coming on Fat Fish. When I saw that poster, it says 50 cents. That shows you how much it's appreciated. But I have the first question. The franchise is amazing. Of course, I saw the first one in the late 70s with Bill Murray and Spaz character.
Before you go on, it was named Happy Campers first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the first one was brilliant. I fell in love with the Spaz character and the whole storyline. Before you get started with Brad and talking about the intricacies of making this movie, give me one story about Brad Grunberg that we know about that he was the first in line at craft services and all that bullshit. Okay. Gosh. Give me a great story about Brad for our audience. That in you directing him, something off camera that you could share.
Wow.
I got him, Brad.
Something off camera that Brad was.
Oh, I know, Bobby. You know what it is? How about at the end of the movie when so I'm getting back on the bus and Christy Tom gives me a kiss, but then Corey Feldman, when you turn the camera around on his POV, he goes, "Why don't you give him a real kiss, Christy?" And she stuck her tongue down my throat. Remember that?
No, because my mouth wasn't involved. How the hell would I have known that? Okay.
Weren't you on your knees in front
unless
of
oil came out of your mouth? No. But I do have one. We had a scene where Brad's character, Victor Thigpen, notice close to Pigpen. You get it? Okay. Victor Thigpen is anyway. He sets up all. They set up all these tables. They're set up in a room or a rec room kind of a thing, and they get him. The bad guys get him to bump into it, and all the tables start dominoing down. Big 8-foot tables, foldable tables. And he's trying to stop them from crashing down because he doesn't want to be the cause of all this stuff. And I had a shot at the very end of these, like 20 tables, where he has to come and dive towards camera. I had the camera I had right on the ground actually, and he had to dive and go by, and he breaks his arm, and he did that in the real film. But the fact of the matter is, what he did should have been done by a stuntman.
Exactly. I was going to
say. And I talked to him about it before. He says, I don't want to get you hurt because we still have, another week or two of shooting or whatever. And anyway, he said, no, I'll do it. And he went ahead and did it. I can honestly say most actors would not have done it. They would have said, I want a stunt person. And rightfully so. But he went ahead and did it. And it's a great shot. And I remember seeing it in the editing room when I started cutting the film, and he just sort of just dives towards the camera and just the head barely misses the camera. Just fabulous shot.
Yeah,
and it was all because of what he gave 100% to the film. He really did. I'm not saying that because he's here. All right, 99%. But the point is, it's almost 100% that he gave. And no, he was fabulous. And we had a great time doing it, except there were a couple of things that happened that were
oh God, there were a couple of things.
Yeah, there were a couple of things that happened. And one involved our camera, our director of photography, and then one sadly involved Jack Nance. But very sadly. But anyway, yeah.
But it was definitely Fish. It was one of the greatest times of my life because it was my first away game. They had just filmed The Great Outdoors with John Candy and Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
And you know how I feel about John Candy.
No,
I've only talked about it every podcast.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun up there. It was great, and Bobby was so gracious, and it was fantastic. Oh, by the way, Bobby, guess who we had on early in Fat Fish history? PJ Marks.
Oh God!
Oh, good golly! Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's great. But he was all over the place like he was in the movie. He was what was he? The stunt coordinator for all the water skiing, right? And the
he was one of them, because we did have another guy whose name escapes you right now. It's been 32 years.
I know.
There was, and I forget his name, and we went to. He was in charge of a lot of the skiing stuff. And the cool thing about this guy is that, he invited me and my wife and my then 3-year-old daughter to Mexico. We went to Mexico and we had a blast, and we went to water skiing there, and he was all on him. We just, he paid for everything. It was wild. But anyway.
Oh my God. There's a fun fact here. So Corey Feldman was the star, and we did a lot of scenes together. I learned a lot from him as an actor because I was pretty much, fresh in the game. And then I worked at the world famous Hollywood Tropicana. His sister was a waitress there, Mindy. So it was like a family affair. Yeah, she's so sweet. And I love Corey. I mean, we got to get him on the show. But Bobby, I'll tell you something. It's something I'll never forget. It warms my heart. And it was
a good time and all like that. And by the way, if you do get Corey, don't have him sing.
No, he's a good singer. He's like Fish. He's great singer in the shower.
I've seen. He thinks he thinks he's a mad guitarist, and it's funny. I saw a video of him that he was trying to act like he's Eddie Van Halen with the guitar, and all he was doing was just sitting there and holding one key in place and going. And I can do that. You can, any of us. Fish can do it. You can do it. Unbelievable. Anyway,
but he's a great guy. Really,
I love Corey. He's a sweetheart, and he had just come out of the whole heroin thing.
Right.
This was his first project. took a lot of insurance money to guarantee him, and then we also had to have a guy from, if you remember, Brad, we had a guy from AA that was his roommate.
Yeah, with him, his chaperone, wherever he went. That guy followed him into the bathroom, and because you never know, but he was clean the whole time, and
so did you.
Yeah, exactly.
He followed everybody into the bathroom.
But it was so special. By the way, how did you come up with the concept, and how long did it take you to write the movie Happy Campers, which then became Meatballs 4?
Yeah, it was originally going to be called Happy Campers. It had nothing to do with Meatballs. There were no rights or nothing like that. So I gave it the title Happy Campers. And Don Borchers, who's our producer, a good friend of mine, Don called me up and said, listen, we're going to do this film called Camping or something like that. He didn't even have a title. He says, do you want to write and direct it? He says, and I said, well, let's talk. And he said, he gave me some specifics. The big thing was he called me, I think it was in early August. And he said, we got to have the film done by December because they want to sell it the American film market. That was part of it. So it was going to be a joke. So I said, well, okay, send me the script and let me read it. He goes, well, there is no script. I said, oh. So you want me to write it? Yeah. I said, well, have you got a story? No. Said, okay. No story, no script. So you want me to start from scratch? And he said, we don't have scratch. But he said, yeah, that's what we got to do. So we worked out a deal that was to my benefit for the amount of time I had, because I had some time. I had done Repossessed with Leslie Nielsen, and I was raising my daughter and all like that. She was a little girl at the time. Anyway, went ahead and we worked out a price. And like I said, a good price for the amount of time. So I was happy. But I had to write the script in a week. So what I did was I locked myself into a room at the Beverly Garland Hotel in Studio City, because I lived in Studio City in the Hill there. And I basically took my computer and my printer, dot matrix printer, shows you all those. And I locked myself in the room, and in 7 days I came up with the story, came up with all the characters, and wrote a 95-page screenplay. I could tell you one little bit that your viewers probably don't care about, but I was totally naked for those entire amount of days. And the reason...
Oh, no.
No. The reason being is that I'm the type of guy that if I'm writing something and all of a sudden I get to a point where I'm not happy where I'm at, I jump in the shower, take a hot shower. Hot water in the back of my head just gets my brain going. And I was going back and forth. If I got a little blocked, I'd go to the bathroom, turn on the hot water, boom, boom, think of the scene I want to do, how I want to do it. Okay, I got it now. And I'd walk on back, and with wet fingers, I would start typing. And that's how the movie was written in 7 days.
Wow, you and Fish have a lot in common. He does 5-minute military showers and manscapes. So he's naked a lot too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's Fish.
If that could help my writing career, what he did, everyone would do that.
Everybody's got a little something to help them out.
That's a great niche. Hey, Bobby, it's nice to know that the reboot of Duck Dynasty is coming about, and you got a nice part in that. I love that beard. And before they do that, Mr. Bobby Logan is appearing as Jerry Garcia in the new touring band of the Grateful Dead. I love this guy's look. See, he's so pissed off. He's out.
Yeah, that joke went over real well.
Look at the guy. I love the beard, man. He looks like I had a professor in high school. I had a teacher in high school look just like them. He was like a pot smoking, hippie and stuff like that. Yeah. I don't know what happened to the guy.
Maybe you can get him back on, Fish, and stop telling your stories about high school teachers.
Well, he's not. He's out of the queue. He left the queue, okay. So he has to get himself back in.
By the way, I want to tell a story real quick. Christy Tom was my love interest, and oh man, was I in love with her. And she was dating Sylvester Stallone at the time. Okay, so that was my competition. But I love you, Christy. I still love you. Victor Thigpen. And by the way, you know how Bobby came up with the name Victor Thigpen? Remember the reliever for the
Bobby Thigpen. Yeah,
Bobby
Thigpen. Huge. You
That's
know,
how he's a big
that's a
baseball guy.
testament what he said to you. Now, I want to say something. Can you text him and
Yeah,
see if he needs another link? And
you talk.
I want to say something. That's great what he said about you. That was a pretty good shout out that you gave 1,000% in running, to that scene, and you could have hurt yourself, but you didn't. You didn't hire your favorite guy that you talk about every fucking podcast, Tom Cruise, to be the stuntman in this thing. You did it yourself. I'm proud of you. So,
Well, thank you, brother. Yeah.
Stallone's in a lot of hot water. I guess he did a speech a couple weeks ago or recently. He compared Donald Trump to George Washington.
Oh, no way! Really? Oh
Yeah,
God.
yeah. He said that
Jesus.
he's the next George Washington, and he's a mythical
Okay,
figure and
Fish,
stuff like
let's
that.
stop talking for a sec. So Bobby is trying to get back on with the link, but it's not working. So what do we do?
Okay, you're gonna tell a story about a lift or something like that. I got to jump out, send him another link because I love this guy, and maybe we'll see what we can do. So just hang in there, everybody. Start talking, Brad.
All right, sending you another link. Yeah, so let's see, what can I tell you? So I created this show I'm going to be filming called Take a Ride with Chunky Love, and we're all excited about it because I'm Chunky Love. Everybody takes Lyfts and Ubers. I've been doing that for a long time, and so I thought, God, all these people talk to me and tell me stories. So I put together a show called Take a Ride with Chunky Love, and we're gonna do it in December, and we're gonna see what happens. But very excited about it. And Fish, you're not involved, thank God. But maybe we'll put you in the back seat. Hey,
I would love to. I would love to. Because this is the #1 meme. This is show 87. You can catch a Fat Fish podcast, Facebook Live, YouTube, DBTV, Roku, Podbean.com. Thank you so much for the listening audience that we have. And check out the clips of Fat Fish on TikTok at Fish6134. In show 87, this is the #1 meme. I've showed 1,000 memes on these shows. This is the most popular one I get. An homage to the big guy. You talk about when you want to cast somebody to do comedy. You don't even need a headshot. You need this.
Oh man,
I love it.
That is one of my
favorite. You're not
the
cardinal sin is don't repeat yourself on a podcast unless it works. And that's Brad's for new people watching or listening. You can get to view. That's Brad's love of his life. That's his dog Annie. How old is Annie?
And he's 12, and she seems like, I always ask people at the dog park or wherever I go, how old do you think she is? And they say 4 or 5. I go, she's 12. Still's got amazing energy. It's all about love, man. My dog.
This is National Animal Awareness Month, and we'll say something.
He hit the new link, and he's entering the studio, but it all does. Let's see. All it does is spin. It just spins. What does that mean?
That's on him. That's his device. Can he do it from his phone?
Can you do it from your phone?
Yes. Oh,
okay. I am doing it from your phone. Yeah.
And then we'll move on to something.
He's got great. By the way, Bobby has been a comedy writer for a long time. He's written for many comedians. Rodney Dangerfield. The list goes on and on. He knows everybody, and everybody knows him. Right. I think he even wrote for Jay Leno. You see what happened to Jay Leno the other day?
What happened? He's got a patch on his eyes. Looks like the Raider emblem. With the patch on his eye and shit.
3 years in a row, he's had major accident. One, he was under his car, and a spark went off, and he was burned. Yeah, his face got burned. That was one. Then he got a car accident, and then the other day he was in Pittsburgh. And he was going to perform in like 3 hours, but he saw this Italian restaurant he really wanted to go to. But it was down. He could have walked around about 1.5 miles. He goes, "Oh my God, it's right there!" To go from the Hampton Inn down to the restaurant, he had to go down a hill. Jay, you're 74 years old. What the hell are you doing? He tripped and fell, and he rolled down. His face, where his eye is all black and blue, he hit a rock. This is the crazy thing about it, Fish. You won't believe this. He didn't go to the hospital. He performed. He went to the hospital when he got back to LA. What? He's unbelievable, this guy.
Hey, the game. You know what? The show must go on.
If he's
old school, because That's the kind of guy, if he's playing sports, he's not taking any time off. He's quarterbacking that day.
Right.
Before we get Bobby back in, if we can,
Yeah.
My favorite holiday is Veterans Day because we are, the favorite word I use, paying homage to people that let us act and say what we do. You have no idea, young audience, what this country would be like if we didn't have our great military servicemen and women protecting us. The second
Absolutely.
favorite holiday I have is coming up on Thursday. It's called Thanksgiving because of the 3 F's: football, food, and fornication. And you have to do it in that order. I mean, I love everything about Thanksgiving because it's family. And my wife, we're going to put 30 people in my house starting Monday.
Wow.
Her whole family comes out from Youngstown and Florida and California and then other places, Illinois, and we have a good time. And they talk about you.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm family, right? You've told me that many times. You're my family.
You are family.
No, that's great.
So,
I give thanks every day. I don't just do it one day. I give thanks every day, but I do love Thanksgiving because we all should give thanks, man. I mean, your health is your wealth. You know, your life. Everybody goes through stuff. Everybody's got something. And you know, it's funny. I was watching something. I was watching Jelly Roll, and he was.
Oh my God, that guy's great.
I love him with all the tattoos on his face. But he told about, you know, starting over. You know, you go and you start over, and it builds you. It makes you a better person, and it's okay. Everybody, you know, can start over when they go through bad times. Don't give up. Like my dad has taught me, never give up.
Right.
Never.
He was in prison. He's a prisoner. He's a con. He learned, and he said, I could either have this prison life or have a talent. And look, he's a big Tennessee Titan fan. Huge.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
Oh, huge football fan.
Yeah.
Most people in the South love football's religion in the South. I scream a lot. I don't watch a lot of networks.
No, not you. No.
Oh no, but yeah, I like to give people. So look, it's your business, buddy. You're going to be acting a lot in 2025. You're talking about Chunky Love. You got a movie. You're taking a slice out of Hollywood pretty soon. If you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
So I like to give people. I watch more TV than you do. I mean, I can't look. You watch porno. I watch TV. It's what it is. So
I love
the first network thing that I started streaming was Lost. Did you ever watch Lost?
Yes, of course.
I'm in the middle of it. I love it. Yeah.
J.J. Abrams. My brother was in the pilot.
Yeah, I saw him.
He was in the great show. Yeah, it was definitely, you know, but you know, it's just crazy. What is going on? Like Jamie Wager last week told us, there are no stories anymore. You know, it's just I just, you know.
Let's ask this guy about stories.
Yeah, let's ask him. Let's do it. Yeah. Bobby Logan's back. There he is.
What happened? Did I piss you off with the Duck Dynasty reference and being Jerry Garcia? That's a goddamn compliment.
I get to that, and whatever. Yeah, no, I and so you know, it doesn't. No, it just all of a sudden just went blank. The whole.
No problem. Hey, we were talking about you behind your back or behind, you know.
Most people in Hollywood have. It doesn't matter.
Bobby, tell us when it all started for you. Did you grow up in Los Angeles? Where did you grow up? And all that?
Grew up actually in at the time a rather bad part of LA called East LA. It's a lot of Latino gangs and all like that. My family had moved out here from New York in the 50s, and at the time East LA was a pretty cool neighborhood. Actually, it was a very nice neighborhood, mostly Jewish. We're not Jewish, but it was mostly a Jewish neighborhood and very nice and whatever. And then, as my dad said, I was born. And at that point, just right down.
Everything went to hell. I love.
Right in hell in a handbasket. But that's how I started in the business. And that two things, the comedy part happened. Well, let me say the movie part happened because I used to make little Super 8 movies. I always wanted to be a movie director and tell stories. And I would star all my friends in them in the neighborhood. And they loved it. And then it was a smart move because then when I put it, you know, when I developed the film and I got it back and I showed the movie, I charged them each $1 to see it because I knew they'd want to see themselves. So that bought me money. That new money got me enough to get film and development to do another movie. and I started doing movies that way. So it was starring the kids in the neighborhood. So there was that. The humor part, unfortunately, came out because my parents divorced soon when I was a kid, and my mom had severe mental problems. And I was left by the family as a 7 and 8 year old to take care of her.
Jesus.
Yeah, wow. It was tough. She had mental problems. She tried, offing herself a few times, and I'm the one who had to call the paramedics and all like that. And so I had a really lousy child. I really had a lousy childhood other than the filmmaking part. And because of that, family started shopping me around. I lived with different aunts and uncles and all like that. But what it did was it forced me to look for the funny, because I wanted to laugh. I didn't want my life to become as bad as it was. So I started looking for the funny. And that led me to, when I got into junior high and high school, I was the guy who wrote the comedy shows that we did, the assemblies. And they did well. And then that got me into, at the age, this is interesting. At the age of 15, I wrote some material. I used to sneak away from class and go in the boys' room, and I'd take those, when you wash your hands, those folded towels that come out, the paper ones that folded. I'd sit in the commode and I'd write material on them. And I love Jay Ward, who did the Rocky and Bullwinkle and Dudley Do Right and all those. So I found out where he had his office in Sunset, and I sent him material. I said, I want to be a writer for you. And son of a gun, if he didn't write back and said, let's talk. I was 15. No, third time. I was like 13 years old. And I think my aunt drove me down there to the one where, the giant Rocky and Bullwinkle statue in Sunset. And I went in there and I met Jay Ward. He invited me. And he gave me a tour of his place, his studio of all the animators. And they had this giant ice cream area because, it was just fabulous. He treated his people so well. And then he says, look, I got to get back to work, but I want you to meet Jim Critchfield, who's one of my writers, and he'll talk to you more about writing. Wow. And he put me in this office with a guy named Jim Critchfield, nicest guy in the world, spent about a half hour with me talking about comedy, writing, this and that. He says, I can't hire you. None of us can hire you right now, but this is what you need to do to get your career going. Now, with the risk of making the story sound like it's a miniseries, can I tell you one thing that happened real later on?
Sure. Yeah.
1986, I got hired, before I made any of my movies, I got hired to be a story editor at a company called DIC, D-I-C. They made the Inspector Gadget, an animation company. They did all
cartoons, yeah.
And got hired to story edit Dennis the Menace, which was 65 half-hour episodes, but each episode had 3 stories in it. So there were 190 stories, and I had to hire writers. And I get a call from an agent one time and said, listen, Bobby, you don't know me. I'm so an agent. I have one client that really could use the work. He's gone through some tough times with alcohol, but he's clean now. He really needs the work. He's hurting for money. Can you at least see him? And I said, sure, send him on in. And they sent him in like the next day, and it was Jim Critchfield.
Wow.
Guy who had spent time with me, Jay Ward, helping me out. And when he said his name, I went, oh my God. And I told him the story, and he was like, oh, wow. No. Anyway, so I had no choice. I gave him like 5 episodes to write.
Of course you did.
Because he was a good writer, period. I mean, it's not like, oh, Bob, you're so nice to help. No, it was nice to help him out, but he was a good writer, and he deserved it. So anyway,
I always say keep it in the family. Why hire a stranger? You hire him. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, Brad and I go through this all the time when we talk about it in the podcast. He's the entertainment guy. I'm the sports guy, and we try and enlighten each other. But we've talked with the guy. We had a guy named Jamie Wager on last week. So we're looking for, and you could attest to this, Bobby. What's happening to the good scripts? What happened to scripts like? I was thinking about Nora Ephron that wrote Sleepless in Seattle, When Harry Met Sally. When these things open up the box office, Brad, they were blockbusters. Today, Gladiator, the new Gladiator is going to open up, and it's going to make a fortune. But there's no movies that are actually stories that are opening up that are making money. The recent Tom Hanks film he did with Robin Wright bombed. Yeah. Do you think that's a trend, or is that a fad, or what do you think, Bobby?
I hope it's a trend, but I don't think so. You literally, when you write a script, you got to incorporate a roller coaster in it, or you have to incorporate just so many CG scenes. The movies have become a ride now. Literally, they don't go to characters anymore. People don't want to spend 2 hours learning about a character. They want to spend 2 hours seeing a fucking robot disembowel another robot, and stuff like that. That's why it's hard to do this. And Zemeckis takes chances. He just did, like you said, the film with Robin Wright and Tom Hanks, and he took chances. That was kind of a very high concept idea, basically doing it in one location. All these.
Yeah.
I could see the concept working, but people don't want to stay for. It used to be movies are 2.5 hours, then they were 2 hours, then they were 90 minutes. Okay, and that has a lot to do with television. You've got this little fucking control here that can go, I don't like that. I don't like that.
And he's right.
Bobby, you've been a writer a long time. You've written for some great comedians. How did that start? And can you tell us who you have written for?
Sure. Started about 1979. I would go to the Comedy Store and see these comedians. Anyway, there were 2 comedy stores. There were 3 actually, one in La Jolla, but let's forget that one. There were 2 comedy stores. The main one on Sunset, and there was one in Westwood,
right,
LA, on Westwood Boulevard, the Westwood store. And I got together with a friend of mine, Eddie Hauk, who really wanted to be a comic, wanted to get on stage. I really didn't want to, but anyway. So I wrote the act. He wasn't a writer really, so I wrote the act. The team was called Bobby and Eddie, and for like 6 months, open mic night and all like that. And pretty soon, Mitzi started paying us. And if Mitzi sure is going to pay you money, that's second coming of Christ. But and matter of fact, after 6 months, they put our name. Our name is on the Sunset wall outside. Bobby and Eddie.
Wow.
Made the wall. But I wasn't a performer. I mean, I did good enough, but I wasn't a performer, and I didn't need the fix of doing it. So after 6 months, I told Eddie, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't don't like the performing. I love the writing. I want to eventually direct. But anyway, so I rewrote the act for him as a single, and he went off and did it as a single for a while, and eventually stopped doing it altogether. And I started following the comics that I thought I could write for. Comics that had no names at the time, like Gary Shandling, Sam Kenneth, and this kind of stuff. And I had an approach, and I started writing for them. And I started writing for those. And then as I was writing, and other smaller names too, like that, but those are like 2 of the bigger names. And just my name started getting around. That he's a pretty good writer. He could write for different people and all like that.
Right.
And so I did that for a while. Then studios started hearing about that I was writing pretty funny stuff for these people. So I started getting hired by the studios to punch up other people's screenplays. In other words, like Fish would come in with a script and sell it to Paramount, and it's a comedy, and they said, great, but typical, everybody rewrites everybody else in this town.
Right.
So hired me to punch it up and make it funnier. I'd never get my name on it, but they paid me real well for doing it, and started doing that with sitcoms. They'd send me the script and I'd punch it up and so forth. But I got tired of not getting the credit and the full amount of money, frankly. Started writing my own screenplays. And a couple of them got optioned, but they weren't working. So finally I had saved enough money, and I got together with a buddy of mine, Murray Langston, who's the unknown comic.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. And Murray and I got together, and we're having breakfast every other day with him and Ruth Buzzy and Johnny Dark and a bunch of comedian friends.
Wow.
And
Ruth Buzzy.
A dramatic comedy, The Homeless, love story among the homeless. And
Murray liked it. We got together. So let's write it together. And Murray says, I'll produce it and you direct it. I said, great. So we wrote it like in a couple of weeks. And then we decided to put the money up. So we put money up. I think our budget was $80,000, to make our own movie. And we did. And it was called Up Your Alley. And it made like about $3 million worldwide.
Wow.
$1,000. And while doing that and Linda Blair starred in it. And while doing that film, while shooting it's when I came up with the idea of Repossessed. And that's another story entirely. But yeah.
That's fantastic. And what's happening today for you? What are you working on? I mean, the business is so different now. I mean, you kind of reinvent yourself, I guess, right?
I'm working at a Del Taco.
No, I saw you in the drive-through. I
was just promoted.
You're terrible. You were terrible.
Well, that's why I got promoted there, because food, they didn't like in it all the time. So I thought to myself, what if I just deal with the public? I've been doing that with films, so I'm good with that. And I don't fuck up the orders that often. So.
Oh my gosh!
Don't fuck up his order.
Yeah, don't fuck my order up, man.
That's what's called an angry customer right there.
Yeah, don't do that, man. I'll call the manager. We'll get you fired.
Yeah.
That might be the best thing that could happen to you. That's funny. The business. I mean, like for instance, didn't you work with Rodney Dangerfield?
Oh, I forgot to mention Rodney. Yeah, no. Joan Rivers. I wrote tons for Joan Rivers. I wrote a ton for Rodney. I didn't all the other comics. I mean, I just mentioned Kennison and Shandling, but I mean the biggest names people I wrote for, biggest names people. I'm a writer. Rodney Dangerfield, Joan Rivers, Gary Shandling, Sam Kennison, and then a ton of other people. I mean, just you'll know them, but I mean, they escaped their head.
Okay.
So I wrote stand-up for about five years, and then went into the movies and TV stuff and whatever. So yeah. Anyway, but I do have a serious answer about what I'm doing now. It took me about 10 years to get the rights, but do you guys remember Rainbow Man?
Oh, the guy with the hair, with the big hair right in back of the home plate, right? Or every event.
Oh, 316. He kept the sign. It was a religious,
like a religious guy.
Yeah.
Fascinating life. Anyway, he's in prison the rest of his life, 3 life terms.
Oh my God. What did he do?
Well, that's part of the story.
Oh, that's part of the story. I
got a documentary about him, and it took me 10 years. I pursued him for 10 years to get the rights. And finally, he allowed me to go up to the prison he's in, so one where the Menendez brothers are at, and meet with him. He gave me the rights, and I now own the rights to his life story. And I want to make a documentary about his life. Fascinating life.
Yeah, we should tell the audience, our listeners, that he was a guy who would show up to all different sporting events, and he'd always be like courtside or like in the second row or behind the home plate, and he'd be holding up that Fish. He'd be holding up that sign.
John 3:16, the psalm. Yeah.
And you're like, how the hell did he get those tickets? And you'd see him Monday Night Football. You see him here and there. It was It was great. Oh, I'm so glad you got the rights. So when is that? Are you developing it now? Is that what you're doing?
I've got the story. I've got it all written. I just have to find the financing now. And it's tough to find the financing nowadays because, it's interesting. Guys like me, when I was younger, I was the hot rod. I was the guy who everyone would hire because he's the young guy. But now that I, look like Santa Claus a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, no, they look at me and they go, "Oh, you're one of the older guys. You probably can't make it to the set every day." And it's like, what?
Come on. Oh,
but that's the way it is. It's ageism, and ageism happens. And I can't find, honestly, I've been looking, but I can't find the finance. And it's not like I'm asking for, $5 million. I'm actually looking for about $400,000 to do it.
Oh my goodness.
I'll pull all my friends and all the favors that are owed to me and do the film for that. And it'll look like $5 million.
Oh, you're the best. Oh my gosh, that's like a Netflix special, or Amazon Prime or
easily without. No,
everyone knows who Rainbow Man in our generation. that everyone. Brad's right, man. That guy, yeah. What's he doing? How can I be a Laker game one night and the same night he's over and he's in San Diego at a Padre game? It's like everything.
You know what he used to do is this. Back it was from the late 70s into the late 80s. He lived in his car. And what he did was there was no internet back then. So what he would do is he would look at TV Guide. Remember TV Guide?
Yeah. Sure.
And he would look at it, and let's say he'd be in Buffalo, and he's looking at TV, or he just did the Buffalo Bills game, got in there, and he'd look at the TV Guide and says, "Okay, the next game next week is in San Diego. Okay, got to go there." Hops in his car, drive cross country to get there San Diego by Sunday. He lived on one meal a day, usually McDonald's. He slept in his car. And he did that for 15 years.
That sounds like my life.
Yeah. Well, and the fun thing too is that the networks loved him at first. They'd go, "Who is this guy? He's everywhere." And he became a national phenomenon. He even did a commercial for Budweiser as the character. Wow. But he started off religious. The first 3 years that he did it, he was just in a rainbow wig and acting crazy. Then he thought, he's wasting his life, and he went and checked in a hotel after the Rams played. I think it was 1979 or something. The Rams played in the Super Bowl here in Pasadena, and he was there at the game, and people started booing him because they were tired of him, and the network put him on. So he went to his hotel room after the game, and he was all bummed out, and put on a religious show came on, and he discovered God right then and there.
Wow.
God, and that's where he said, that's what I'm supposed to be doing with this character. Is I'm supposed to,
spread the word,
character. And then he read the Bible like 5 times in a row in like a 2-week period, and he came up with the phrase John 3:16. He didn't come up with it, but he took that and started doing it everywhere. And now, even to this day, you watch football games and things, and you'll see John 3:16 everywhere.
He reminds me of the guy, Fish and Bobby. Remember the guy who was the imposter? Like all of a sudden you see him, he was doing the layup lines on the All-Star game, and you're like, who the hell is that? And then he hit right. Remember that guy? It's another kind of character.
Johnny Carson. I forget the guy's name. I just saw it actually a few months ago. I saw it on YouTube. It was fabulous.
Yeah, he's from Michigan because my buddies know of him. I mean, he's a legend. I mean, he's a referee. He's all over the place. He's the third base coach. And you're like, he had every pass in the world, press pass to get on the field. I can't believe he wasn't arrested, but that's another unbelievable guy that we remember from our generation,
And he was, but this one.
Yeah, your guy.
Because he went on when he lost his religion, he finally went out, and I'll leave the subject here because
right.
But when he lost his religion, he became the Antichrist. He created a character called the Antichrist, and went off and tried to actually shoot a couple of presidents. And he wanted to go to the Academy Awards and be in a building across the street with a high-powered rifle to shoot famous people, thinking that God would make him miss, but he would still get the publicity that this happened, and then it helped him spread the word of God again. So
we got to see this document. We got to get this.
This has to be made,
man, because we lived in that generation, remembering that guy. Wow.
Then try a 7-minute trailer that I did for it to help sell it. I'll send you guys the link.
Oh, I'd love to see it. When you went down to visit him, I mean, you've been down there probably a lot, right?
Well, actually, no, about twice. But
just twice. Okay, that must have been an experience going down there, because I used to visit friends who got incarcerated down in LA County lockup. I was scared of the people going to see them, the prisoners, the families, and shit. I go, fuck, look at this, Jesus! I'd rather be on the other side of the glass, with those guys.
Totally.
Crazy shit, right?
It is crazy shit, and that's why. It's funny. We all do crazy shit in this business, but at least it's on a level that's not going to get us incarcerated.
Right. Exactly.
So anyway, what do you do?
Bobby, this has been so much fun. I tell you something, you're a legend. You're a sweet guy. No, you're in this business.
Del Taco,
You Del Taco. I mean, now I know you work there. It's fantastic. Maybe you can get me, slip me a couple burritos. But no, I'm just saying thank you for being on the show. I mean, I've learned something about you. It's just so much fun seeing you,
and we didn't really get a chance to talk much about Meatballs, to be honest. That was weird.
Yeah, no. Why don't we end with that? Yeah, Meatballs were. Oh, by the way, when I came in for the audition, I just remember that I was sitting there and you were looking at me, and I read a little, and I probably read maybe one scene and stuff. But what was it about me when I slipped you a couple hundred that helped? But what was the thing about me? Why? Because I know I saw the guys in the other room. There's some well-known actors. You read everybody pretty much.
Oh. Yeah, without a doubt, quite a few. And it was because it was a pivotal role because it was the big comic relief. Aside from our star, it was the big comic relief. But the important thing with you was the fact that you're a big guy that could have been a bouncer anywhere, but you had this empathy in your face and the way you talked that was like a man-child, and that's what I wanted. I wanted this man-child who basically mom is sending him off first time away from home. He's going to camp. He didn't do it when he was 12. He's doing it now when he's like 20. And mom sent him, and he was the man-child that'll eventually get the girl in the end. So,
that was I had so much. I mean, I remember when I was watching Christy Tom in the bathroom through the window.
We were all watching Christy Tom.
Oh man, she took off her top. Hello. She's so beautiful.
Do you remember when Stallone came by? She was dating Sylvester Stallone at the time, and he flew up there in a private plane to spend the night with her. And
I said, "Who do you want to spend the night with? Victor Thigpen or Rocky Balboa?"
Yeah,
I didn't win out. I just went back to my room.
It was close, though.
It was close. No, it was. I made her laugh, and that's big.
I wish Sly would have been on the set when she stuck her tongue in your mouth. Yeah. Okay. I would have loved to see that because some guys don't get some guys are kind of quirky about that kind of stuff when they see their women doing love scenes. Brad, was that the first girl you've ever kissed? By the way?
No. Yes, probably in my life. Yeah. But
I mean, in life.
if it wasn't for Corey Feldman, she wouldn't have done it. She just all of a sudden, she gave me a kiss on the cheek, and then Corey says, "Oh, your dad's gonna love her." And then when they turned the camera around, Bobby turned the camera around to get his POV. We were behind the camera, of course, as good actors do. They're there for their other actors, and she just stuck her tongue. We start making out. So this is crazy. So one of the crew guys goes, "How was that?" Oh my God.
It was nice.
It was incredible. He goes, "Okay."
Everybody got laid on that. Everybody got laid on that set except the director.
That's right.
Wait. Stop right there. PJ March got laid?
No.
All right,
come on, Bobby. I met this guy one time.
PJ. Yeah. Except the director and anybody who goes by initials.
Oh my goodness. No, it was such a great time. And we had some ups and downs, but I'll tell you something. The people you picked were fantastic. I mean, the bad guy, remember Frankie, and he was, may he rest in peace.
Johnny
Mendoza as the bad guys, and Bo, Jesse, Christopher, and Trevor, and and it's funny, they all stayed in one house, but I was a method actor. I wanted to stay by myself because I was like the lonesome loser, still am in real life. But anyway,
can I say one thing, guys? How do we effort this film?
Yes.
What about the younger people? You said the film came out. You did it 32 years ago. Is it on Tubi, Bobby? Where can we find Meatballs for?
I know it's available if you go to like eBay. People are selling the DVDs and all like that and so forth. It's so funny. I just got Fire TV for our home here, and I think you just press the button and you say the title, and it takes you to all the places that have it.
Oh, that's cool.
Or that are running it. Yeah, I know that MGM bought the movie.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It was Trimark, wasn't it Trimark?
No. It was called Movie Store.
Oh, Movie Store. That's right.
Right. Movie Store. A couple of guys, and that's why the whole thing about. And I don't not start a whole new conversation here, but just briefly, it was going to be called Happy Campers, and we were shooting the movie. We were like halfway through it, and the producers called me after the day shooting to have dinner. We had dinner, and they said, "Listen, we just bought the title Meatballs, so we want to call it Meatballs 4."
My God!
And since it was at a lake and kids and all like that, it's all tied into it. And they said, "So that's what our decision is." And I went, "I didn't sign up for Meatballs 4.
Meatballs 4.
I never want to do a movie that has a 2 behind it, much less a 4."
4, right? That's funny.
But they said that's what it is, and I
you got to go with it. Yeah.
Whatever happened to Christy Tom? Did she ever? I don't remember her name.
She's a artist.
Okay.
Very good one.
She didn't stay in the business. Okay.
Yeah, she's wonderful, and she was so nice to me. Bobby, in closing, can you tell the young actors, young directors, young people who want to be in the business, what's the secret sauce?
There's several ingredients in that secret sauce. First off, you can't quit. You just can't quit.
Yep.
You got to keep on, and you can't even quit for a short period of time, because if you do, everyone else is going to get ahead of you. It's like a race.
Yeah.
And everyone else is just going to get ahead of you. Believe in yourself. I know that sounds trite. A lot of people are listening to that right now going, Well,
that's for you, Fish.
It's true, though. You got to believe in yourself, and you got to do the work. That's the thing. So many people talk about it. I want to make a movie. I'm going to be a director. Well, go direct something. You young filmmakers out there, you have no excuse. When I wanted to make a feature film, I had to go out and buy a thing called film and a big $200,000 camera to shoot it with. And, half of the $80,000 budget of my first film was film and processing and making what we call a one strip on it so we can edit it. Kids don't do that. Everybody here, anybody can make a feature film with your fucking phone.
Yep.
It's, these phones are like 4K now, which is 4 times as powerful as the first digital camera that George Lucas used on the second series of Star Wars films. Yeah. He shot that at 1080p.
Yep.
And so you got no excuse. You can shoot it on your phone. You can go edit it on your computer, or you can edit it on your phone. You can edit in your computer with free software you can find online. You got no excuses, except you need to do the work. Come up with a script. Work it hard. Don't just come up with a first draft and say, that's my script. First draft is like building a house. First draft is the foundation of the house. Doesn't look anything like a house, but you need that foundation. The second draft, you're framing now. Looking more like a house. Looking more like my movie. Nice. Till you get to you finally get to the third or fourth draft of it, and you got it really tight. Then go do it. But don't write Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
You're not going to get that made. Write something with characters, stuff we're talking about beforehand. Right?
Use your friends like you did. Use your friends in East LA like you did. Yeah.
That's exactly right. And then I used my friends in the first film.
Yeah.
But then you put it on the film festival circuit, and then if you may get a name, you're certainly going to meet a lot of people in the business, buyers, distributors, producers, and all like that. And you keep building those relationships. Yeah. I wrote a joke for Joan Rivers once that was, I've got friends in this town I haven't even used yet. Okay. It's a joke, but it's also true.
Yeah. True.
It's not that you're using people, but your friends will want to help you.
Exactly.
So just,
and then when you get there, you bring them along for the ride. That's what
absolutely.
Yeah.
I still got friends today who are going to help me when I get this documentary done. But the best line in the world is Nike. Just do it.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't talk about it. Just do it.
And you're going to make the Rainbow Man documentary. And Bobby, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, I'll tell you, Brad, Fish, it's a pleasure. And I'm sorry we had that little
No, don't worry
problem
about
in between there. Hopefully you can edit that out.
Well, we know that little problem right there is you got to go explain to your manager at Del Taco that you're doing a podcast. You want to know why you weren't working the fucking drive-through.
That was it. I'll tell you, it's what a life, huh? Come on, give me a break.
From big time movies to Del Taco. Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Logan, give him a nice hand, everybody. We love you, Bobby.
Thank you, Bobby.
Hey, he's got hair. Oh my God.
I got hair. It's a lot of gray in it, but I do have hair.
Fish doesn't have any hair on his balls. He shaves that too.
He shaves them. Oh, okay, great.
Everything goes. Yep.
That's something you needed to know that you could lead this podcast with. There's your visual of the day, Bobby Logan. Put that on your camera phone.
There you go.
Thanks,
Talk to you later, Bobby.
We love you, buddy. We love you.
Love you guys. Take care.
Thanks for coming on.
All right. Wow.
That is a great guest. That guy's energy.
What I tell you.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're right most of the time, man. It's just what a wow. I want to ask him, and I'll ask you, and then we'll get out of here. Yeah. Corey Feldman. I met this kid at Mom's Saloon with Corey Haim, and he's known for The Lost Boys. Obviously, Stand By Me was such a great performance.
Goonies.
The Goonies, but Stand By Me, there was actually Goonies, but Stand By Me, his character, Teddy Duchamp. There was a lot of drama to his character, and he nailed it. And he got great reviews in Variety and everything else. What was he like on the set? Because he's an iconoclast. He's a guy that everyone likes and asked whatever happened to Corey Feldman because he hit real quick. I think Corey Haim passed away, hasn't he?
Yeah, he passed away. Yeah. Very sad, yeah.
Was Corey Feldman good to you?
Incredible. He taught me so much about acting. He was a child actor, and he was so gracious. I'd ask him questions. He was right there for me, and I really learned. And publicly, I want to say thank you, Corey. Well, I'm going to try to get him on the show. That would be great, right? And he's just a really nice guy. Yes, he went through, some stuff, but again, we all go through stuff. But he's just fantastic. I mean, his life is a documentary. Oh my goodness, Michael Jackson, all that stuff, incredible. I love when he dressed up like Michael, with the red and black, leather jacket. But he was so gracious, so nice. We had a great time on the movie. It was so much fun.
That's what it's all about, And I got breaking news.
Okay? Yes.
One of our, Brad's trying to put together a nightclub called Johnny Cocktails, and I'm consulting. And the third guy that's involved in this thing, or was involved in this thing, and still wants to get involved when we get going, Frankie Oli's going to be a dad.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
his girlfriend that he fell in love with is pregnant. She doesn't know that you're the father, so we'll let him go with that. But he's going to be a dad. He goes, Fish, can you shout it out on Facebook? And I said, yeah. Frankie's been a friend of mine. Probably the most brilliant drink sommelier I've seen in my 44 years. This guy's hired all over the world to open up bar menus and different kind of drinks. And we need good news. Thanksgiving, the week of Thanksgiving. Friend of the show, been on the show. He was on show number 7. Frankie Oli is going to be a dad, and we love you, and we're happy for you, right, Brad?
A real Goomba. We love you, Frankie. You're going to be a papa. Oh, is that great? He's going to be a great dad. I think he'll be a great dad.
Goomba. That kid's Goomba. Talk about being connected. That kid's made already. He doesn't have to go to what they do in Goodfellas. So no, we're happy for you. Yeah. That being said, Brad, you got any final thoughts? We got to get out of here.
Buddy, 87's in the books. It was wonderful. Thank you, Bobby Logan. We had a great time with you. And, everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. That's the most important thing. Give thanks every day, but celebrate with your family and friends. And we'll see you next week on number 88, baby. Right?
Got it.
You've been listening to the Fat Fish Podcast, heard on all your favorite platforms. Until next time.
Danny!